Hey guys, it's Adrienne. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a spoiler-free review of The Wrath and the Dawn duology by Renee Ahdieh. So in this duology you have The Wrath and the Dawn, which is book 1, and The Rose and the Dagger, which is book 2. The Wrath and the Dawn series, especially the first book, is a retelling of 1001 Nights, and it follows Khalid, who is a king, and he's been killing his wives at the dawn of every day until he meets Shazi. Shazi is a girl who volunteers to marry Khalid in order to seek revenge of the murder of one of her best friends, Shiva. In order to be able to seek revenge on her, she needs to find a way to stay her execution, and she does this by telling stories every night in order to keep Khalid interested in the next story in the next day so that she can see the dawn of the next day. Obviously this works, and she's able to stay her execution for a while, and while she does so, she learns that things are not always what they seem. There's a reason that Khalid has been killing off all his wives, and she wants to find out what that is. Is this Boy King the monster that she and everyone else assumes he is, or is there something bigger, something deeper going on? This is a fantastic duology about trust and friendship and jealousy and misunderstandings. It encompasses all of the great things that I personally love about a fairy tale. So let's start off by talking about the plot. Like I said, the first book follows 1001 Nights. The second book kind of drifts away from that a little bit. You get a little bit more of it. What I liked about this story is that even though it was slow burning, it was still very interesting, and it felt like you were reading a fairy tale, which I really loved. And another thing that caught me by surprise is that this is definitely a romance-based duology. It definitely focuses around the romance between Shazi and Khalid. Generally, I'm not a big fan of romances in YA novels because a lot of times it's the insta-love. I've met you for the first time and you're my chosen one and we will live long and prosperous and happily ever after, blah 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 blah. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that by any means, but that's just not my thing. What I liked about this is that they started off married and they hated each other. They were just trying to kill each other, basically. Well, not basically, they were trying to kill each other. So their romance kind of developed in a natural way, and they were definitely relatable. What I also liked about this romance was that in the second book especially, we see them apart from each other and they do well without each other. They're not codependent. They can function in their own being. So even though it was based on this romance, it wasn't cheesy by any means, and I really enjoyed it. Another thing that I really liked about this duology was that it was a desert-based or Arabian-based fairy tale retelling, which you don't see very often, or at least I can better say I haven't read very often. So it felt like a real world, which kind of helped because I felt like the world building wasn't that fantastic, but it didn't really need to be because there wasn't this unknown world that we needed to discover. It felt like it could just be anywhere in the world today. And the same thing goes for the magic system. The magic system was not explained at all. It left me a lot of questions, but if you look at other Arabian tales, like a story that everybody knows, for example, Aladdin, you don't really question it. It's just kind of there. It's kind of something that you have to just accept. So if you're looking for a really complex magic system, you're not going to find it in these books. You just kind of have to accept it. It kind of bothered me a little bit, but when I sat back and thought about other Arabian tales that I read, they're all kind of like that. This mystic magic system that you don't really know much about. It just kind of is. Obviously this is a review, so let's not talk about only the good things about the plot. Let's talk about some of the things that kind of threw me a little bit. And in the first book, one of the things that threw me was that I wasn't invested in the story of the side characters. I feel like Shazi and Khalid, they had all the attention and they were relatable and they were done well, but the storyline of the side characters I found kind of boring. I kind of almost wanted to just skip through and go read more about what's happening with Shazi and Khalid. And that was solved very well, in my opinion, in the second book. I was definitely more invested in the story of everyone, of all the characters. But one of the things that really threw me in the second book was the pacing of the story. I feel like some things were kind of skimmed over very quickly or jumped over altogether and talked about later, and other things were dwelled on for a really long time. So it felt like the pacing was kind of off. I do feel like that could be a lot of just personal preference. I think that the author skipped over certain things for a reason, but it just left me kind of confused. There were several times in the book that I had to just go back and reread a few pages to make sure that I didn't actually miss anything. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about the characters. Aside from the fact that I could not pronounce any of their names, but that's just because me and my Western culture, I really enjoyed these characters, especially Shazi and Khalid. Like I already mentioned, I enjoyed the fact that they functioned on their own as well as together. They definitely were relatable and enjoyable. What I loved the most about these characters is, although this is a YA book, they felt more mature than your typical YA. Like, I wouldn't guess that these were your typical 17, 18-year-olds. They kind of felt like they'd be an older pair of individuals, especially because of the experiences that they have in life and the things that are going on. I had to keep reminding myself that these were just teenagers and young adults. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this is that there's really strong female friendships that happen in this book, which again in YA doesn't come too often. I definitely see it, but it's not something that is a strong thing in a lot of YA books. And this one, especially the sister relationship, is something that I don't see very often. Shazi and her sister's relationship was definitely expounded upon and elaborated on in the second book, and I really enjoyed it. I think what I loved the most about the characters in this duology is that they were flawed. They weren't perfect individuals. They had their own struggles, their own life problems. They made bad choices, and they were okay with the bad choices that they made, and they strived to do better next time. And I think that that was very well done. And the last thing that I want to mention quickly is that I think that a duology for this series was absolutely perfect. I think maybe we could have had a little bit more information, but I don't think it would have been enough to make a trilogy. I feel like it really would have suffered from that second book syndrome. And I thought that the ending was very satisfactory. I was sad to see them go, but I was thoroughly satisfied in how things turned out. So if you're looking for a fairy tale retelling, if you're a fan of retellings like I am, I would really suggest this one. I really liked it. It was probably one of the best duologies that I have read yet to date. So that's it for this little spoiler-free duology review. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this duology and what you thought about it, because I'd love to talk to you about it a little bit more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you as part of my little bookish community I got going on here. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye.